Let's welcome in the president of the American Principles Project, Terry Schilling, and National Memo Editor-in-Chief, Joe Conason. Gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It's always great to have you on Wake Up America Weekend. Joe, we'll start with you. Since day one in office, Biden has worked to overturn several border policies that were put in place by Trump. And since then, obviously, we've had millions of illegals flooding into the country, and it's become one of the top issues, including over 350 terrorists. So immigration, again, it's consistently one of the top concerns among voters. Do you think Biden's, border policies are a big driver in the Trump surge?
Well, Michael, I'm not sure I actually see the same Trump surge that you do. Biden gained in 5 polls in the last week, including CBS, New York Times, Morning Consult, Yahoo YouGov, and actually was ahead in all of those. So I'm not sure that the race is anything more than tied at this point. When you show me a 41-39 Reuters poll, that's within the margin of error. So it's essentially a tied race. I don't see any Trump surge. I don't doubt that people are concerned about immigration. If they are, as I've said on this show more than once, they ought to ask the former president why he stopped major immigration reform authored by his own party in the Senate from passing. And the reason was he wants you to be able to talk about it, which you will dutifully do every week. Rather than talking about, for instance, why it is that he's proposing tariffs that every economist says would amount to a huge tax on Americans, especially at the lower income levels. There are a lot of other things to talk about here.
All right, let's get Terry in there.
Look. I love Joe. He's a feisty debater. I do greatly respect him. But let's also keep in mind that President Trump just got convicted, quote unquote, convicted of 34 felony counts, quote unquote. Right? I mean, he's surging at a time where he should be, floundering. And there's one reason for it. It's because the American people are tired of all the BS. They're tired of being gaslit. Right? They're tired of being told how great the economy is, how inflation is decreasing when the prices are still going up and increasing. They're tired of the crime and the border problem. But mostly, and this is where most of the growth is coming from, it's coming from the Ross Perot voters. The people that hate both parties, that are sick and tired of the weaponization of everything, they are coming back to Trump because they have 2 terms to compare. They know that President Trump's first term was much better than Joe Biden's first term, and that's why President Trump is surging.
All right, so you brought up the economy there. I'm going to come to you, Terry, for the first one, and then, Joe, you can give the response. The other hot button, obviously, is, as you mentioned, the economy. Now, prices under Biden, they've risen by 20%. Trump, conversely, is floating the idea of letting Americans keep more money and eliminate their federal income tax altogether. So do you think the economy will decide this election? Terry?
I do. I absolutely think the economy is going to decide this election. And I disagree with Joe on whether or not tariffs will hurt the economy. If the American people get to keep 100% of their paycheck, they then get to determine where their taxes go and how much taxes they pay. I think we need to empower the American people. It used to be that the Democrats liked taxing corporations more. They didn't like corporations accumulating wealth. So why don't they like it? Or I'm sorry, why aren't they okay with cracking down on foreign companies and the wealth that they're building? It seems like Democrats and liberals in this country, all they really care about is enriching our enemies and the people that want to destroy this country. Let's get rid of the income tax, stop taxing the American people. I think it's going to be a very popular plan. I think Joe will be shocked at how popular this plan is. And let's give more money back to the American people and take it from our enemies.
All right, let's get Joe in there.
Are you shocked?
Why do you think that tariffs would come from our enemies? Tariffs are paid by consumers, Terry, as you should know or do know. And, when you tell me, they'll get to keep more of their money, that's not true. Tariffs are a burden on consumers. They are paid by consumers. No, I oppose tariffs, and that's been a Democratic and progressive policy for many years now. Most people don't think we should tax consumers rather than wealthy people who will make out like bandits if you abolish the income tax, as you also know, including,
Not
you know,
true. They
the
hide
people who
their
own this
wealth
network.
through
Of
stock
course they will.
trades and capital gains.
No,
We all know.
no.
We all know
Did
rich people
Donald
don't
Trump pay
pay income taxes. They pay capital gains taxes.
Hold on, guys. We're
taxes
talking
did
over
Donald
each other.
Trump pay?
Joe, I want to give you 30
Why
seconds,
does
Joe.
Donald
but
Trump want to abolish the income tax?
Is
Come
it
on.
also, is it possible that Donald Trump, being the deal maker that he is, and he's done this when he was president, he starts off with a strong policy on tariffs to negotiate better terms for the United States with a lot of foreign countries?
no,
he did
you
that
have to-
before, and
no,
he didn't
no,
cripple
because
us
you
with
have to
tariffs his first term.
Michael, you were in Congress. You know how the budget works, right? If you abolished the income tax entirely, we would have basically very little revenue, and you'd have to replace it with something. You would replace it with the tariffs on the American people, which would be enormous. And, you know, they would be very regressive. People that you used to represent would pay them. And the people at the top who used to pay income taxes, at least some, unlike Trump, would, you know,
We used to fund our
escape scot-free.
entire government with tariffs and foreign taxes and taxes on foreign businesses and corporations. That's how
It's
our
not
government
taxes
used to
on
be
foreign
entirely
businesses.
funded.
It's taxes
That's
on
so
consumers,
true.
Terry.
All right.
There was never
All
an
right.
income
All
tax.
right.
Gentlemen.
Ding, 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 ding.
Listen to the lady. She's in charge.
Gentlemen.
Even I listen to her.
You have to. He has to. Anyway, Joe, Terry, thank you so much.
Sure.
We'll have you back next week. We love having you on.
Thank you.
She wants to tariff me, guys.